Right? Okay. The thing is, I came in hot. I came in pretty hot on that last stream. I apologize if I blew anyone's eardrums out. Okay. Um, sometimes I get worked up. What are you gonna do, right? So we're doing back-to-back streams, like blind men at a urinal. Take your time with it. This particular stream is kind of like an adjunct or a continuation to the one I did with Rad, right? I did one and Rad came in. It's not like we had a joint stream or anything like that. He came in because I dropped the link on Instagram. I'm like, hey, bro, you want to jump in on this because you were proven right about um, Tanakh. Oh boy, I could never really pronounce his name properly. You were right about Tanakh Huerta and his no, not Tanakh Huerta. You were right about the entertainment industry and everyone else paying attention to the black and brown coalition idea that's floating around out there, right? So, you know, there was that. You know what I mean? That was about, what that was about. However, now many other things have come out about this project. Come out about this project where not only are they doing the black and brown coalition with Black Panther being from Wakanda and Tenoch Huerta being from an underwater version of the Mayan Empire, aka Atlantis. They're actually going to go the route of, I don't know if it's called Azatlan, right? And as a former screenwriter myself, I can totally see where they're going to go with this because as a screenwriter, it would be irresistible for me to connect those two, especially if I'm playing with myth. If I'm playing with myth, right? And then I see Atlantis, right? ATL. And then I see Azatlan. All those three words, those three letters are there. ATL, those three letters are there. That's irresistible, especially since they're in that same general area, right, around the Atlantic Ocean on that side of the globe. And I get to play with the idea that black and brown people have a history going back before Columbus, according to people and scholars like Ivan Van Sertima. Even though Ivan Van Sertima was proven wrong about many a thing, the ideas that he floated out there, which left questions that were some of which were never answered, right? Like, for example, Christopher Columbus's own chronicler, I think his name is Bartolomeo something, he mentioned that they saw black people and that the natives were speaking about black people that came from this general area and came up to their shores, et cetera, et cetera. And there's also contention because they also said that the Native Americans, the natives like the Arawak, Tainos, there were many tribes that colored themselves many different colors. Like some of them would color themselves chalk white, some of them would color themselves jet black, the others would call themselves bright blood red, and then some indigo blue, and these sorts of different things. It would have been lovely. See, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that we're missing. We never knew, or we will never know what kind of world this would have turned out to had history not played out the way it did. No disrespect towards the Spanish, or at least the modern era Spanish, okay? The modern era Spanish have nothing to do with my criticism of conquistador era Spanish. All right. So anyhow, they were talking about making Tinacuerta a Latinicized version of the Submariner. And so now they need an actual villain because they're not going to make him. See, even though they said, oh, Submariner's going to be the villain, he's not going to be the damn villain. That's not how that works. If you've seen any superhero movies, what you will predict is that Submariner will come in there and he will have some contention with Black Panther. They will have their little scuffle. They'll have a really good fight scene, fantastic fight scene. And then after that, they will become friends. They'll find common ground. They'll see they have a common enemy, common oppressor. And that common oppressor, I've heard from many sources that common oppressor will be a white guy. It'll be Doctor Doom. So now there'll be three nations, okay? And as a screenwriter, again, I know this is very likely because as a screenwriter, I would not be able to resist this. Look, you have three kings and three kingdoms. T'Challa, the Black Panther, who is the king of Wakanda. You have Namor, the Submariner, who is the king of Atlantis. And you have Victor Von Doom, who is the king of Latveria, an Eastern European kingdom. And so something like it feels like Romania, like as in because I know there's a Castle Doom. So imagine Castle Dracula in the middle of Romania, Transylvania. So then you have Castle Doom in the middle of Latveria. That's the imagery that they want to play with. And it's the imagery I know they're going to play with because, again, I've had screenwriting. These things write themselves. If they don't do this, people will ask, hey, why didn't they do this? So they're going to do this, right? Now, the reason why I'm making this video here, the reason why I'm making this video here is, well, first of all, let's do our little intro, right?
You, turn around.
You prefer the view from behind?
No, well, yes. You know I can't lie.
The reason why I'm doing this video is because there's a sentiment out there held by a lot of racist nerds. Now, I'm not saying all racists are nerds and all nerds are racists, okay? I'm saying there are nerds and then there are some racist nerds. There are a lot of racist nerds out there who they tend to mistake reality for fiction and they tend to meld the two. And so when they see something like this occur, where they have a black and brown hero, right? Where you have Namor the Submariner being brown and T'Challa or whoever they have as Black Panther next being black, and then those two characters are fighting off a villain who's white. These racist nerds, they go off. They go off, and I'm happy that you guys are sticking through with me. I mean, unless I'm yelling, I don't seem to get as many people in here. So maybe I should start screaming, huh? No, no. This is kind of like a cool down stream because I'm gonna go in hot on the video right after this. I'm gonna go in hot, right? But for now, let's let's chill out. You know what I mean? For now,
let's slow it down. Let's slow it way down.
do you guys tend to notice that a lot of times, if you have a nerd, let's say it's a black nerd, do you realize that they don't want to be among other black people? Now, me, I'm sandwiched between two worlds. I'm, if you can tell by the way I speak, I'm not I'm not unaccustomed to intellectual pursuits. All right? So I have a foot in the nerd world and I have a foot in the mainstream world. And what happens is I'm sandwiched between those two worlds and I get to see a lot of the behavior. And a lot of times when we have black nerds, they tend to, just like when you have this is really weird. When you have black nerds and when you have black LGBTQIA people, the gentleman we had here, I forgot what his name was, Eddie, right? When Eddie was like, yes, oh my God, yes, Queen, yes, that guy, right? So when we had Eddie here, Eddie was a very intelligent guy, right? And he was unabashedly, unreservedly, unadulterated gay, right? And he seemed to have a whole lot of anti-blackness within his rhetoric. And it's not any slight towards him because his background is his background. I imagine that a lot of his animus towards his own race comes from maybe he was mistreated by other black people, maybe he was mistreated by by straight black people, and the only people who, or the only folks who embraced him. Give me a second. That emulating the affectations of Eddie made my throat go hoarse doing that. Yeah, let me not do it again because it's gonna make my voice strain again. Roy Chess Roy Chess had mentioned that as an African American, he can tell that I'm Haitian. I've never got that, Roy Chess. This is you. This is you being contrary for the sake of being contrary. I've gotten everything from British to Euro trash to everything else, but I've never ever gotten a Haitian. Sometimes I even get Jamaican or Trinidadian. They're like, "Hey, there's a little bit of bounce to your English." Nah, never Haitian, never. Okay. Again, for those of you who are not in the know, there's a very specific intonation when you're a Haitian and you speak English. There's a very specific speech pattern. And being that I don't know who's here, I'm not going to game you up on that right away. When we get some sort of closed group, we can go ahead and address that. Okay. So, anyhow, moving on. Black nerds and black gay people tend to be very, you know, hateful towards other black people. And especially, oh my God, black nerd women. It's like, let's say you try to holler at them, right? The there's a guy I know. He's really good with the ladies. I mean, this dude, he can get anyone he wants. And there was a black nerd girl, and he tried to holler, and she looked like she was looking at a pile of maggots. Like, girl, all you gotta do is say no, right? And then we found out later, like when we saw her go outside, she ran into the arms of a really skinny, dorky white guy. Okay, so we found out why. Now the thing is, we didn't really jump to conclusions because later on, that same girl, she was saying a lot of anti-black things. She was calling people ghetto. She was calling people hood. She was calling girls hood rats behind their back. All these sorts of things. All these sorts of things. So that's a slight digression on black nerds and black LGBTQIA people who they tend to have anti-blackness. Well, it's baked into the cake for a lot of these black nerds. Now, the thing is, I tend to get misidentified as a self-hating black nerd because when I speak the way I speak, right? And I don't say all the, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, I mean, I don't say any of that stuff, at least, you know, I don't use that as my primary mode of communication, right? When I don't speak that way and I speak properly, they tend to think, oh, it's yet another one of these sellout black nerds. He probably has a white girlfriend. He probably listens to Aerosmith and Nirvana. Actually, I do listen to those bands, and I do like some white women. I do like, it's all about the individuals. Okay, so they're not completely wrong, but it's what they cast me into, the frame or the box they put me into. That's the troubling thing because they're like, hey, this guy, he must be a self-hating black nerd. You had one guy who's not even, I don't want to say the words completely black, but he does not identify as black, but he has black ancestry. His name was El Leon or some shit like that. I think Salam, right? So this guy, he came in one of the streams. I don't know if it was my stream or maybe something like Fido was involved in, or maybe it was Fido's stream itself. And he was like, the black experience. Then he tried to fist bumps fighter because after he was trying to malign the black community, talk about, yeah, and these black statistics, and black people are violent, you know what I'm saying, you feel blah, blah. He was saying all these different things. I'm like, you mean the individuals, right? Because we got to take each other as individuals, as conservatives here, and some of us who happen to be, I don't know, libertarian. One of the main pillars of that belief system is that we treat each other as individuals. So do you mean individuals? Like, no. And he got really angry with me. And then at the end of me defending African Americans, right? Someone else in the room shouted, "You're not even black, you're Haitian." Yo, this man's not even Haitian. He's not even Haitian. He's talking about, hey, fighter, hey, fighter, hey, fighter, listen, I could tell that you're a street dude. You know what I'm saying? You're a street dude looking for chest bumps and high fives from fighter. I could tell you're a street dude and you real as it comes. You know what I'm saying? You real recognize real. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So I could tell where'd you grow up? Where'd you grow up? You grew up in Philly, New York, what? You know, 'cause I grew up in LA all day, nigga. Fist bumps and high fives. All right, those things don't make you right. All you're doing is you're snuggling up to the host of the channel, and you're appealing condescendingly so. You're appealing to his most base nature. Fighter, as much as he would like to think that he wants to be hood, Fighter is hood, but Fighter's not trying to be hood anymore. I think he knows that's a dead end street that he's driving down. I don't think he wants to be that. He gets involved in a lot of these basically YouTube street dramas and bochinche so that it gets his views up. But if you really look at Fighter, and again, it's not appraisal or criticism of Fighter, it's neither nor. What it is an honest observation. That Fighter, I did a few streams here about things that I'm into. A lot of times I'm, what's the word I'm looking for? Reticent? No, hesitant. A lot of times I'm hesitant to bring up the things that I love here on this platform because I wouldn't think you guys be interested. You get what I'm saying? So I think that car you hear outside, listen. I already sold the guns. So when they get here, they ain't gonna find nothing. So many times I don't think you guys will be interested in the things I'm interested in. And one of the things I'm really interested in is medieval or even 1800s, 1900s culture. Like the time that we found out that there's a reason those scientists that the United States recruited from the Nazi government. Some of those guys have massive gashes and scars on their faces. There were some people who conjectured that those scars came from, I don't know, Nazis mistreating them, but nah. Come to find out, that's a culture. Those guys, they go into something called academic sparring, where they're in college, these highly paid institutions. You know what I mean? The equivalent, the Germanic equivalent of Ivy League schools over here, but over in Germany and Prussia and all these different places. They have these duels where they block their eyes, they block their throats and their vital organs, and they leave their cheeks and foreheads exposed. Then they take their blades and they go at each other, full on fencing. And when one of them gets cut, what they do is they do not let it heal. They soak up the blood with some sponge. And then after that, they stuff the wound with horsehair so that it grows, it almost festers. And then it doesn't heal properly. And then you have a nice, beautiful gash going from the ear all the way to the lower eye. And it's a mark of respect among them. I found that fascinating. That's fascinating stuff. And I didn't know Fighter would be into that stuff. Fighter loved it, wanted more. There were other things too, like the size of the world. Do you know that the map that you have now, it's called the Mercator map? And you don't live where you think you live. In fact, there are a lot of people who don't know their proper address in the universe. When you go past your neighborhood, you go past your zip code, your area code, your zip code, you go past your city, your state, your country, and you go past your continent, and you go past the earth. What's the next item as your address, right? So you live on X X something street in such and such city, in this state, in this country, on this continent, on this planet. What about everything else? You live in what solar system? Do you know? I don't really know. I think it's called Sol because it's named after our sun. Our sun is called Sol, I think. SOL. So that's part of your address. Then you zoom out more, you're part of perhaps the Milky Way. Or is it we're right under it? I forget. I'm not really into astronomy like that. And then you go past the Milky Way, and supposedly, the Milky Way is part of something, a neighborhood called Lana. Oh God, I'm so sorry. Um, Samoan people, I'm gonna really butcher this name. Lanayakea. All right. So we don't even know our full address, where we live in this universe. And Fighter was interested in that sort of thing. So Fighter, he's more multifaceted than he'd like to portray himself to be. And I wish he would embrace most of that stuff. But that's enough about him. Again, it's neither a criticism nor praise of this individual. I said all the things I'm saying to prove a point that black nerddom and black intelligence is looked down upon by the black community. And so, therefore, when someone's a black nerd, or maybe someone's a thug but has black nerd pursuits and black nerd interests, like this guy Fighter who wants to be hood so badly, y'all knocking the guy out. You know what I'm saying? And you find out, I feel like I feel like all these different things. When he offered to fuck up, what's his name? Creyente, right? When you have these sorts of guys, usually that's a shell. There's a smart guy underneath it. Now, I'm not responsible for making that person a better person. I'm just saying that's what it is, and that's a byproduct of the black community looking down on intellectualism. Even someone like Salam, right? So, Salam, another guy who offered to fight me for no fucking reason. Right? He wants to be hood, said black people, black culture is, fish grease and Kool-Aid and fried chicken, all the horrible stereotypes that you could think of. This guy threw it out there as black culture when he was asked what is African American culture. He almost did a greater disservice to African American people than Roy Chess does. And I'll tell you right now, Roy Chess, in my opinion, that's a whole agent. He ain't never going to be on this platform again. After he said what he said about African Americans, I know way too much about history for me to ever co-sign that kind of language on this platform. So even though Roy Chess is a black nerd, yes, he's a black nerd. As much as he'd like to think, I'm into MMA and no. You're a black nerd. Just like me, I'm a black nerd. Now, the thing is, for those of you who are street, do you think my punches hurt less because I'm a nerd? Do you think I don't know how to shoot with my legally purchased and licensed firearm because I'm a nerd? That's the other thing I wanted to actually cover. People are using this I'm hood thing, yeah, I'm about that life, to basically say that you know, they're warriors. They're a caliber above, normal people. No. These things make you weak. That's what they do. They make you weak. Because you know what? You've been to jail. I haven't. And you can't live on this planet, in this world, without having done wrong things, right? People who say that they're completely innocent, they're lying. Now, they could be lying to themselves or to you or both, but they're lying. It only takes a little moment of introspection and self reflection for them to come back with an honest answer, but they won't do that. The difference between me and somebody who's about that life is that they got caught. I didn't. They served hard time in prison. I didn't. So that covers the intellectual phobia, the intellectual phobia that grips the black community. I wanted to actually cover that a long time ago, but I didn't cover it then because a lot of things kept on coming up. But I'm glad I got to cover it now in this little slowed down, in this little slowed down session here. You know what I mean? But it needed to be covered, and I should have covered that a long time ago. How do you feel if you're in the audience here and you're a black nerd? How do you feel about that? How do you feel knowing that many of your peers, they don't consider you part of the black community because, I don't know, you're into World of Warcraft. Maybe you know a lot about maps, right? Maybe you know a lot about sciences. Maybe you're one of these guys who can take apart an engine, right? Or a computer and put it right back together. That is valuable, and that's something we should cherish. I said this before in one of my streams where I really, really got angry. I will not get angry here. I will prevent myself from getting outraged again because I spent myself on that particular stream, and I don't plan to revisit that emotionally now. But but it really gets me angry. It gets my gold all the time when we have black kids, let's say, graduating high school early. Let's say you're supposed to graduate high school at 17, right? Or 18. And the kid went ahead, this black kid went ahead and graduated high school at 13, right? You would think these guys would try to get, or these guys' parents would try to get them into Mensa, the Prometheus Society, all these different things. Now, the thing is, if you're on this platform, give me a second. If you're on this platform and the names I mentioned, Mensa and the Prometheus Society, if those names and entities mean something to you, then you're my people. If they don't mean something to you, you're still my people, but you need to catch up, all right? There's nothing to be looked down on about intelligence. Intelligence is the one true power in the universe. If you don't know something, you can't affect the world properly, okay? So, moving on here, moving on here. If this kid graduates high school at like 13, or I mean, God forbid, like 12, right? Graduates high school at 12. He gets a small birthday party, but his brother, who just got released from prison, he gets a block party. We need to flip that. We need to flip that. See, the thing is, I'm again, I have my foot in many different worlds. So I've seen white criminals get released, like friends of mine who are white, they get released from prison. They don't get block parties. They don't get, welcome home, a big wee with the confetti and all this stuff inside the house when they come in, a surprise welcome home party. They don't get any of that. When this white person comes out of prison, the last thing he wants is to see other people. This man has been stewing inside of prison, his liberty and freedom taken from him. And all he's been thinking about, if his head has been screwed on the right way, all he's been thinking about is how to make the most out of what he's been through. Many of them, they come out and they write books. And I'm talking about the white prisoners now. They come out and they write books about their experience in prison. They invest in it. See, what they do is, let's say they come out and like their baby mama or their moms or their dads or somebody like a good friend gives them some money, right? Hey, here's like $5,000, $10,000 so you can get you. I passed the hat around. Listen, Jeff. Listen, Jeff. I passed the hat around at the church. You know, and they gave some money, and I passed it around with some friends, and we got $10,000. We got $10,000 together for you to get on your feet and start to make your life work again. Now, this guy, right, this white guy out of prison, and again, I have one foot in a lot of these different worlds, so I'm telling you this anecdotally. This is something that actually happened. So this white guy, he took maybe two or three of those $1,000, and he looked for a ghostwriter because he can't write, and then he has no time because he's on a clock. He's right out of prison. He has to find a place to live. He has to find a way to feed himself. He has to please his parole officer every month, right? So he'll have a lot of balls in the air. He has no time for a steep learning curve like learning how to write. But he does have the raw materials. He's the one that was in prison who lived through all that stuff. So he gives his money over to a ghostwriter, someone who's good. Like he looks up, he does his due diligence, he gets on the internet, whether it's at the library or at a local place, or he borrows a laptop and gets on the local Starbucks, right? Use that white privilege, white boy. Right? You won't get kicked out for not buying coffee like the black man, that happened to in the local Starbucks, I don't know if in Milwaukee or something like that. And so this guy, however he found out, he found a reputable, talented writer, and then he wrote a book about himself being in prison. And he didn't stop there. He wrote the book through the ghostwriter, but at the same time, while the book's making money, this guy was learning the craft of writing from the particular novelist themselves and through massive amount of books. I went to this guy's room. He had books from the floor past how tall he is. He's like 6'2", past how tall he is. You know, I'm being hyperbolic here, but you get what I'm saying. Loads of books on how to do screenwriting. He got books from Joe. I forgot the guy who inspired George Lucas. I forgot his name. Joseph Campbell. Now his name caught up to my actual speech here. I'm doing this straight off the top of the head, so nothing here is ever scripted. This is straight up from the top of the head. That's why a lot of times it's disjointed. Sometimes I might start a thought and then I don't end it, so you'll have to forgive that. I'm kind of doing this, basically pouring my heart out here, right? So that's a white guy coming out of prison. That's what he does. That's what he does. Okay? That's a typical white guy, what he does when he comes out of prison. Another white guy that I knew that he came out of prison, he started a gym because in prison he was really swole, right? He found out that prison routine, and then now he's like, hey, how about if I bring the prison routines, work out like an inmate, like that kind of book, right? So I don't know if that book ever went anywhere, but he did it. He did it. And it turns out a lot of people have that idea after him. They've had that idea after him. So, but he did it. He still did it. When a black guy comes out of prison, as per my experience, they don't do the smart thing because, again, they're going back to a community where if they go in there and they say, hey, I've had an enlightenment while I was inside, I'm thinking clearer now. The minute he says that, oh, what you Muslim now, nigga? Well, you gonna sell me some motherfucking bean pies and shit? What the fuck, man? You ain't about that life no more? That's the minute he comes out. That's what he's greeted with. We have a lot to fix as a black community. We have a lot of work to do with each other, with ourselves, okay? Anyhow, I think that will be all for we started off with the Black and Brown Coalition thing with Namor the Submariner, with Black Panther. And we moved on to a lot of other different things. I tend to veer off topic like that, and I intend to come back to this particular topic of black nerds very soon. Probably next, if I digress in the next video, I'll cover that again, more extensively than I have now. But like, comment, subscribe. All throughout this, succumbed. I have succumbed to my Negro admixture. I've done very stupid things like not put up the Cash App. The Cash App is $artist Bob Stone. So go ahead and hit that Cash App if you want to support any of our projects because we have a lot going on. Even this character, someone asked me if I wanted to build a story around her. Now here's the thing. Oh boy, I meant to close this down, but ownership again. Do you guys see any problem with me doing a story about a white female character? Right? I own this character. Why is it that she would have to be black? Right? Why is it she'd have to be black? She doesn't have to be. I'll cover that when I revisit the concept of ownership later on. But like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications if you're on any social media platform. I need you to go ahead, share a link to this channel, share a link to this video, right? The channel currently is at 152 or something like that. We need to get it to 200. Can you help me? Can you aid? Can you promote me in getting to 200? Let's do that. Let's grow this channel. It's a big platform, and we are actually, hold on, bro, Tep, you can't be out here owning, yeah, there you go. You can't be out here owning no white woman. Truth teacher, I have a whole lot. I guess what I could do is, there are about 5 or 6 of you in the chat here. Probably, you know what it is? somebody's probably having a stream where they're talking about stuff that's more popular than what we're talking about here. Stuff like, is this person sleeping with that person? Is B Simone black enough? Is she Latin? Is Danny Lay racist for having the song Color, the song Yellowbone? All these different things are occurring right now, probably. And so I don't have a lot of people here. Let me see. Yeah, welcome back to Wakanda. Hell yeah, Melanated Night. I'm looking forward to that movie, actually. Really looking forward to it. But anyhow, let me get off this platform here for a second to get ready for the third stream. Actually, it's going to be my fourth stream of the day. I'm looking for into a system where I can do 5 or 6 streams per day. The only thing is the prep time. One of the problems I have with doing these sorts of live streams is not the discussion itself. Because when you look at people like, let's say, Shivo2121, Kim123, OG Del Rancho, all these different people, they either write down what they're going to say, which takes all fucking day, and they do that, or when they hop on, they don't speak and they don't flow off the top like I do. They don't go and speak their thoughts in a fluid, flowing manner like myself, Denise, Truth Teacher, Radical Latino, Pocho Status. They can't do what we do. I think that's I really think that's part of why they're so frustrated. They look and they see talent. Okay, they look and they see talent. I was gonna add someone else to that, but apparently, like most of her videos, she has that stuff written down. And no, this is not neither praise nor criticism towards her, but I'm not adding her on here because what it is we freestyle. Myself, Rad, Truth Teacher, Denise, Pocho, we freestyle. We go right off the top and we just keep talking and talking and talking very soothingly, very calm, right? Very calm like. And we get the facts out there and we have these little analogies and we have these comparisons like and as and all these sorts of things, and we bring in comedy. We have these little preset clips and all these different things, and this music which is not copyrighted. We're looking into royalty free stuff all the time, right? So I think they feel intimidated by the 4 or 5 of us on this platform, in this collection of platforms. They're intimidated by, and if they think that they're intimidated now, holy mother of everything sweet and pure, wait until we start actually getting into the swing of things. Again, Denise Gonzalez, Latin splaining, aka Latin splaining, right? She has something planned that is amazing. The minute she dropped out, I was like, I want to be down, because we were on Instagram and she was like, hey, how about we do this? I was like, oh, whoa, 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 slow down, slow down, slow down. You want to do what now? And I was like, okay, that's yeah, we're gonna do this shit. You know what I mean? Once you guys see it, you're gonna love it. I guarantee. Right? So anyhow, I've talked your ears off enough on this particular stream. And these back-to-back streams will continue until these blind men peeing at the urinals finally find their way out through the door. That's all right. Some of you slow taps, take your time with it. The people who are faithful followers of this channel, they get the joke. All right, back-to-back streams, they got it. Anyhow, have a good one wherever you happen to be in the world at this particular time.